This is the last video before you do the last checkup and of course the self-test and pace test. Just before we talk about this one concept that you will find on the checkup, I want to point out to you a very significant thing. If in the past you have tried using Quizlet or you have used the test tips that I made for other courses, you're going to find that a lot of those study guides and resources that you find online are not going to really be helpful for this new version, okay? Because they've totally rewritten it with new problems and new questions, and so whatever study guides you happen to find are not going to be helpful. And I'll just point out, Quizlet is made by students, and sometimes they make mistakes in making, or they make it just to help them, and so they leave things out or they don't truly understand it themselves. So be cautious, okay? And the best way to learn it is for you to put your brain to work doing a study guide and trying to make sure you have mastered that pace. But let's talk about one concept, and that is converting. Whoops, I'm tripping over my cord again. Converting from one type of unit to another. And in this particular example problem, they are going from talents, which is a unit that's used in the Bible, and then they're going to ask for the mass in kilograms. And we have to first realize that 1 talent is about 75 pounds, okay? And then use that and convert from pounds to kilograms. But let's see all the steps that we would do to set that up. Now, this was talked about in an earlier page before this checkup. But let me just make sure that you know these steps. You always take what is given, okay? In this case, 2. I'll just abbreviate it, 2 talents, and just put it over a pedestal, okay? So there's no units on the bottom, or I'm just kind of lifting it up so it's on the top. And then I'm going to do another conversion and another conversion. And I want to go from talents to something. So the first thing I do is just think, all right, I need to go from talents to, I can go to pounds. All right, so I'll put pounds up here on the top. And then since I have pounds on the top, I want to put pounds on the bottom. And let's see, that'll take me to kilograms, yay! All right, once you have the units in and you can see that 1 unit on the top will cancel a unit on the bottom. Top and bottom here are equal, pounds on the top cancels pounds on the bottom, and the top and the bottom here have to be equal, and then the answer comes out in the units that I want, kilograms. Now let's plug in the numbers they give me. 1 talent is 75 pounds. So I need to put the 1 on the bottom, put 75 on the top. And then it tells us that 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So put the 2.2 on the bottom. Okay, now we can just take our calculators. It should be real simple to just multiply 75 times the 2 talents, okay? Get 150, and then on the bottom I have 2.2, so divide by 2.2. And then you'll have the final answer. And then the problem will tell you whether to round off to the nearest tenth or to round off to the nearest whole number, so make sure you read the directions carefully to know where you're rounding, okay? But this conversion factor method of canceling is very helpful, okay? We're going to use it a lot all the way through the course. So make sure that you understood it while you read it in the pace. And then make sure on the checkup you do it correctly. Show your work, show all the steps, all the conversions. Don't just think about it and say, let me think. I think if I multiply these 2 numbers, no. Set it up, make sure the unit that they give you goes on the top. That unit's going to go on the bottom. You have the intermediate unit that you're going to convert to, and then cancel that to end up in the units that they want for the answer. Okay, I don't want to belabor the point. Hopefully you do well on this checkup, the self-test, and you're done with the first pace.